Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Yahoo Finance. I'll leave a link to it in the description for those of you who haven't seen it. So the T-Mobile millimeter wave story is still an interesting story going into 2024 because we don't have any set plans for them to deploy this at a greater scale than what it is today. They've expanded it some, but even in those cities that they've deployed it in, it's not really at any scale. They deployed it on a few macros, towers, and that's been about it. So now they're testing it on the 5G standalone part of it. They're even saying that in some cases, if you aggregate it with the low and the mid band, you might be able to get millimeter wave to reach a bit further. So that's all good. But when are we going to see an actual substantial build plan with funding towards millimeter wave? And the reason I bring that up is because we've had the talks about fiber and maybe that's a better investment, but that's long term. Fiber is going to be really long term. If they want to proceed with any type of scale at leasing it back from these companies, they have to let that or those companies get to scale first. So in the short term to midterm, how do they accelerate any type of FWA beyond the 7 to 8 million if they so choose to? I think they have to do it with the millimeter wave. In the short term and even midterm, that's the faster solution. You upgrade the site, you get the millimeter wave on the tower, and then you provide that customer with a router that has millimeter wave with an external antenna. I truly believe that's the short to midterm play. It's the millimeter wave. Not from a mobile perspective, because if you put that on the tower, it'll only reach so far. Again, it has its limitations. I've stated that before. But that in my opinion, is the short to midterm play. It has to be the millimeter wave asset. For one, you spent money on it. You have more of that asset than one of your competitors, one of your peers in AT&T. So you got to make use of it. But here's also another interesting negative. Some of the millimeter wave holdings that they have in the 47 gigahertz, there isn't any support for it today. No device support. And I'm told there is no actual radio support for that spectrum today to where they can actually officially commercially deploy that asset. So they would have to deploy their 24 gigahertz, and I think they have some 37 or 39 gigahertz. They would have to deploy that where they own it. But a good chunk of the spectrum of the millimeter wave, keep in mind, that allows them to have more than AT&T sits in that 47 gigahertz that nobody else wanted. So again, T-Mobile is going to be stuck with having to wait for support on the device if they choose to deploy that at scale. And then they have to get radios and panels support as well. So it's just an interesting situation. They don't have the asset in full that has 100% compatibility. So they're still waiting. It's going to be the same scenario as with 600. When T-Mobile bought 600, they had to build an ecosystem. They had to build the software into the baseband. They had to wait for device support. Then they had to wait not only for device support, but actually till those devices got to somewhat of a scale within their base. So there were a lot of areas where they started deploying 600 where they had coverage now, but device compatibility lacked. So people still showed no service in some of those areas because they didn't have band 71 support. So it's an interesting situation. They may want to invest, they may want to deploy, but then there's that issue compatibility-wise for devices on the 47 gigahertz and on the panels and radio side. So just some thoughts to leave you guys with this morning on the millimeter wave story. I think in the short term, that's the best play, midterm as well. But like I said, they have some red tape that they gotta get over those hurdles. And I really don't know how long that's going to take. How long is it going to take for device support in the 47 gigahertz band? And then once it's in the devices, how long is it going to take to really get that out to the consumers to take advantage of? And then how long is it going to take them to get a router, a CPE unit that has support for the 47 gigahertz? So leave all your comments in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. See y'all in the next one. Peace.